And now, from your local election headquarters, the only locally produced political talk show discussing the issues that matter to you. This is Big Country Politics on KTAB.
Thanks for being here for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. I'm Victor Sotelo. We start with what's making political headlines across the nation, state, and the big country. First, state politics. Governor Greg Abbott signing bills into law. Our focus right now, property tax reform. Here's KTAB's Austin Bureau reporter, Steffi Lee.
Property taxes are confusing, but with Governor Abbott signing this bill today, for the taxpayer, they just got simple.
State leaders say this bill encourages Texans to get a grasp on property taxes. It will work together with the school finance bill, which is around $5 billion to buy down property taxes.
That is what reduces the tax rate.
Tax experts say taxpayers will get a real-time notice about what's going where.
I will see exactly how much property tax I'm being proposed to pay to each local jurisdiction in which I reside and will owe taxes to. It'll tell me how much of a tax increase that is.
Cities and counties will also need voter approval if they want to raise property tax revenues beyond the 3.5% limit. But some mayors worry this process won't provide stability.
The fact that it requires a yearly vote in order to be able to pay for the cost of inflation means we're not going to be able to enter into any long-term contracts like public safety and the like, because we can't guarantee from year to year that we would actually have an election that we would win.
But legislators say the law will help cities make better decisions.
Each budget is unique, so there are always places to trim and there's always those extra things that you want to spend, just like in your household budget, right? So the mayors need to look at those, the city councils, and then go to the voters. And if their arguments are legitimate, I think the voters will say yes to that.
This limit goes into effect next year.
Awesome.
And Speaker of the House Dennis Bonin and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick both said that cities and counties should not try to get around what's outlined in this law. They say if cities and counties try to add other ways to tax Texans, that's something they'll aim to stop during the next legislative session. And continuing now with Texas news, another bill signed into law by Governor Abbott. This one takes on the murder of anyone under the age of 15. It's called Lauren's Law. A person convicted of capital murder of a child under the age of 15 now will be sentenced to no less than life in prison without parole. It's in honor of Wichita Falls teenager who was killed at the age of 13. Reporter Curtis Jackson has more.
It's unfortunate we had to gather in the first place, because the reason why I'm signing a piece of legislation is because, unfortunately, a precious life was lost in Texas.
The precious life of 13-year-old Lauren Landavazo. Landavazo was gunned down by Cody Lott on her way home from school. And although her parents, Vern and Bianca Landavazo, could never bring her back, they are ensuring that she will always be remembered.
I'm going to be signing Senate Bill 719, which is known as Lauren's Law.
Under current Texas law, an adult can be convicted of capital murder and be eligible for the death penalty if the victim is under 10 years of age. Lauren was just 13 years old when she was murdered. Under Lauren's law, anyone convicted of murdering a victim between the ages of 10 and 15 could face a life sentence without parole, but not the death penalty.
We're just so proud of the beautiful, loving, giving person that our daughter was, and the way she was always trying to help others. And just so blessed that we have that kind of legacy to carry on.
But they couldn't get it done without tremendous support.
Appreciative of Senator Fowler, Representative Frank, and now Governor Abbott for their part in making this a reality and protecting and providing justice for the most important asset that we have, our children.
At the end of the day, it's about keeping Texas families safe, keeping children safe, and about justice. And I think Lauren's Law does move us a step closer to true justice.
And a step closer to making sure Lauren's legacy forever lives on.
And now to national news. The issue of immigration still on the forefront as we approach the 2020 election. The Department of Health and Human Services says the facilities holding undocumented aliens are overcrowded and underfunded. KTAB Washington Bureau correspondent Anna Warnicki reports on efforts to develop new housing for illegal immigrants.
A cell with a maximum capacity of 35 holding 155 migrants.
El Paso Democratic Congresswoman Veronica Escobar says these are the disturbing conditions inside El Paso del Norte's migrant processing center.
Detainees wearing soiled clothing for days or weeks. Migrants standing on toilets to make room and gain breathing space.
A recent report by the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General found the conditions in El Paso to be unsanitary and dangerous.
Agents and officers are overworked, exhausted, and frustrated.
Texas Republican Congressman Will Hurd says the situation is only going to get worse.
Last month, 144,000 people came into this country illegally. To give some context to that number, all of last year, 400,000 people came in here illegally.
Officials with the Department of Health and Human Services say to accommodate the influx of migrants, they plan to open 3 emergency shelters. One shelter will be located in South Texas, another at Oklahoma's Fort Sill military base. The third site has not been confirmed, but Hurd says instead of scrambling to accommodate the overflow of migrants, Congress should be working on speeding up the immigration process.
What we should be doing is not treating everybody as if they're an asylum seeker so that we can deport them even quicker so that you don't have this backlog of folks sitting around.
HHS says they plan to open the overflow facilities as early as this month. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
Those facilities are on federal property here in the Southwest and around the country, including military bases. Moving now closer to home with our Iron Dice Air Force Base, it was the final flight for Base Commander Colonel Brandon Parker this last week. It's what the Air Force calls a Finney flight. It is the last flight a base commander makes before moving to their next assignment. Colonel Parker is set to move to his next duty station at the Pentagon. The change of command ceremony will happen Monday. We'll see Colonel Parker handing over the base to Colonel Ed Sumingale. And next on our Eye on Brownwood, where they too have a new leader, we're talking about a new police chief. He is Ed Kading. Ed Kading has a 25-year career in law enforcement. He most recently served with the San Angelo Police Department. Chief Kading says he looks forward to becoming a part of the Brownwood Police Department and a part of the Brownwood community. And now to Taylor County, where there's a problem at the county jail. We've told you about overcrowding, but now there's a shortage of correctional officers. Taylor County Sheriff Ricky Bishop asking the Commissioner's Court to approve a plan to pay overtime with those salaries saved from those unfilled positions, about 10 of them. Up to this point, the department has been offering comp time for extra shifts. County Judge Downing Bowles says they need to look at wages in the jail to compete with state correctional officer wages. Meanwhile, the jail is still sending inmates to other facilities to be housed at the cost to the county, and commissioners are also looking at a plan to expand the Taylor County Jail. And staying in Taylor County with our eye, we're seeing a lot of activity on social media about mosquitoes and where they're at right now, and the city of Abilene choosing not to spray to kill them. The city of Abilene has said it will not spray for mosquitoes unless tests show a mosquito is carrying an infectious disease like West Nile virus. The city's environmental department traps mosquitoes and sends the samples to a testing facility in Austin every week to test for the diseases. But they tell us the Abilene has remained clear for the last 4 years.
If there is a mosquito that has a positive West Nile, which there hasn't been, but we test every week, we're setting traps and testing, then we will spray in a 1 mile radius area of that positive.
And if you have standing water that contains mosquito larvae, then you check with the Environmental Health Department and receive tablets to kill them. Still to come here on Big Country Politics, there's a big need here for blood. We're talking about the blood donors, what you can do about it. We're back in 2 minutes.